Jamie Say, WKMG.
Hi, Steve. Just wondering what your reaction and the guys' reaction was when the game got postponed the other day, and how did you guys make use of that time?
Well, actually, we had already practiced that morning, and actually I was at the hangar, when we got word that we weren't going to be going. So obviously, we had done work, and then yesterday we just took off. I think it's actually, where they say you hope for the best, plan for the worst. And I think that's going to be part of this whole, if you look at how, our league is going, what's happening in our country. I mean, I don't think you can be surprised by anything. But the one positive I will say is this: we needed a day off badly. And otherwise we were looking at, right now we have another 20, I think it's 20 days before we have 2 days off. So our guys were beat up. We actually yesterday didn't allow anybody on the court other than the guys that were the rehab guys. Everybody came in and got treatment, and we had good energy today. I thought guys looked a lot fresher today than they have for a while. So I think that the day off was good.
Tim Reynolds, AP.
Cliff, I had two things for you. The first, kind of along the lines of what you were just saying. I mean, obviously pushing back some games to the second half, it means that whatever happens between March 11th and May 11th, or whatever the dates are, it could be pretty hectic. But if you can bank some practice days and some rest time now, long-term, how valuable do you think that can be too? I mean, you saw the short-term benefit today. How beneficial can it be long-term?
Yeah, I think it's going to be, I mean, there's more, as you guys know, there are definitely more factors, when you're playing a schedule like this, besides, obviously the pandemic. I think the mental side of things, how we're all just living, that's part of it. And then the condensed schedule, which everybody's playing. It's fair for everybody. Nobody has an advantage, but it's a different, I mean, again, this is different than anything I've ever been through. And so how guys rehab, how they sleep, how they eat, it's always an important part of our league, but an even more critical area now. And, people always look at, I think schedule, the biggest factor obviously is always opponent. But the other part in an NBA schedule is how condensed the schedule is. How many back-to-backs are you playing? How much are you having to travel? Because all those things impact everybody. And so I think that the more time that you can get 2 days off, I think it's going to be, if used correctly, very beneficial.
Cliff, the follow-up I had for you is you play in some buildings that are, I mean, obviously they're all pretty much empty for the most part, but crowd noise gets piped in really loud in some places, not so loud in other places. How are you dealing with the whole communicating in a mask thing? Do you feel like you're getting better with it? Do you still find yourself wanting to pull it down sometimes? How are you adapting?
Yeah, I got the call. I was one of, I think there were 7 of us got call from the league about keep your mask on. So yeah, I'm going to do better no matter what. And I'm actually, I have some masks that are easier for the guys to hear than others. I'm just going to wear the right mask, and I'm going to do better. I'm not losing money because I can't be disciplined enough to keep my mask on. So that's a good question, and that's what I'm going to do.
What was that call like?
Yes, sir.
What was that call like?
No, that's what I said. Yes,
I got
sir.
you.
Yes, sir. I understand, and I'll do better. That's it. I mean, it's fair to me. It's not easy, and yet I totally understand it. I mean, it's the world that we're living in, and we should all, in my opinion, be doing everything that we can to be as safe as possible. So if people are seeing things that don't make sense in terms of health and doing everything that we can do to protect each other, to me, we should all be doing that. So I think it's fair, and I am going to do better.
Thanks, Cliff. Safe flight today.
Thank you.
Philip Rosenreich, Orlando Magic Daily.
On the court, how much more comfortable are the guys kind of in their new roles now with Markelle out? Obviously games are games, but having the practice time to kind of really drill down and even walk through some of the stuff and some of the responsibilities. How much more comfortable do you feel guys are with how they need to play without Markelle?
Yeah, I think a little bit, but I think that's the biggest issue for our team right now. That and the injuries, right? So like today was great for that. And that's all we did. What you're talking about, Philip, is to me, when I watch it, is, you know, the film tells you everything, and one thing that we're not super organized right now. And so when when you look at and evaluate your team, execution starts with simple organization. And then when I look at how much we've practiced and what we've worked on, it's like anything. Most of the things that we're not doing well, we haven't practiced much, and that's not their fault. And I'm responsible for that. So today was great in that way. We didn't do anything live. It was totally organizational with their new playing groups, which we haven't been able to do much at all. And I'm hoping that will help us for tomorrow.
Josh Robbins, The Athletic.
Steve, a two-part question similar to Tim Reynolds' two-part question. How optimistic are you that tomorrow night's game will be played?
Oh, I think we're very confident it'll be played. I again, I think the communication between the teams in the league is every day. And so, I mean, our plan is that we'll be playing.
How is Evan doing?
I feel, he's, feeling better. I mean, I think he's still a little bit away, but I just talked to him actually for a while, and he feels better.
Dan Savage, OrlandoMagic.com.
Cliff, we spoke to Markelle the other day, and he said he's been, watching the games and texting, guys like Cole and Jordan along the way with things he sees. Just how engaged has he been, and how important is it to have a guy doing those types of things for his teammates, even while injured?
Oh, I think it's critical. And I mean, he's in here today again, doing what he can do. I think that, player to player relationships, of guys that actually try to help their teammates play well. It can be done a lot of ways. It can be on the floor. It could be phone calls. It could be text or whatever. But that's how you build, I think, an environment where players are helping players. So I think it's important. It's a big deal, and it says a lot about them.
Roy Perry, Orlando Sentinel.
Steve, I know it's been a pretty small sample size, but I'm just curious, what are you most encouraged about with Aaron's play so far, handling the offense?
That we're organized. I mean, I watched a ton of film with him yesterday, and his first thing was, I know I'm turning the ball over too much. None of it was in the half court, and I showed him the turnovers. His turnovers were more playing ball. He had the 2-on-1, which is a play he always makes. He had one drop off where it could happen. There was a cut one way. He thought the guy was going to cut the other way. And he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to keep us organized. And my other point to him was, there's no better on ball, ball pressure, disruptive type guard in the league than Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday is an elite defender. And, their adjustment the second time that AG was the point was to put Holiday on him, and he was fine. He was fine. So, we are functioning fine. There's things that we have to grow with. A lot of it is, again, we don't have enough offense in, to me, and we're not going to with the way this works. So it's like, play more through Aaron handling, play through where Vooch is catching the ball early in possessions. Those are our best things. And we've got to get better playing without the ball off those things. And we did some of that today. So, there's always things that you can do. But for right now, we have enough. We've just got to get into the details. And I thought today was a good step in that direction.
Okay, we have time just for a couple more. Tim Reynolds, AP.
I'm sorry, I had one more for you. Now that they had the trade call this morning and it's official, how much crazier and more brutal did the East get now that James is in Brooklyn?
Yeah, you can't double team all three of them, Tim. I mean, it's going to be, yeah, I mean, you know what? As you know, when you're doing this stuff, I don't even, you watch the trades, obviously, because I'm a basketball fan too, but I'm just locked into Boston, and I watched some Brooklyn because, you got to watch 1 or 2 games before. You can't wait till the last day. So I've watched some of them, but we'll worry about them Saturday. And obviously, I mean, that's an incredible amount of firepower to have on one team, though.
Thanks, Cliff.
Dan Savage.
Cliff, I know you touched on some of the stuff you did organizationally. Is another part of that getting timing down for Terrence and getting him in the ball in the places he likes it and so forth?
Yeah, no, for sure. And having enough offense in for him. I mean, the primary guys that teams are going to, lock into, you've got to have different ways to get them the ball. And we did, some of that today too. So that's, he's playing a lot on just like catch and shoot plays where there's a lot of screening and use of screen involved. And, teams are paying extra attention to him. The only thing I'll say, you guys remember last year, this was questioned every day. He's not a machine. He's not going to make every shot every night. And he was playing at an incredibly high level, and he'll get back to that level again. But, we have new things that we're going to do, and he'll be more than fine.
Philip Rossman-Reich.
I know you've probably been sitting with the Celtics for a while now since you're supposed to play them Wednesday. And I know you're someone that really values tape, but how do you prepare for a team that hasn't played in a week that, might be trying to knock off some rust or, might be, how do you prepare mentally for a team that's just kind of been sitting there waiting for a chance to play again?
Yeah, I think they're also a little bit tougher because of the fact that Brad's so creative. They're not going to just, if they don't have all their guys, they're going to do something different. So, we started to prepare today for their base things they do offensively. And, but you might remember last year, they came down here with a couple guys out and played a ton of zone. So you got to be ready for that. In the bubble, they were doing zone pressure, which they had never done before. So we did a little bit of that today too. You have to be ready for everything. And the reality is this, watch Brooklyn last night. They're an NBA team and they're going to have enough good players out there. So if you don't play well, you're not going to win. And so again, it always gets back to, your readiness and how well you play that given night. So, I mean, they're going to have some guys out. We have some guys out, but we need to me, it's going to start with us playing defense the way we're capable of. Every possession, all out, early with talk, not getting spread out, keeping the ball out of the paint. And with that, even with the guys they have, it won't be easy. So I have confidence in our team. We have 11 games in 20 days. And what I'm looking for is that we win and get better. Win and get better. That's what we need to do.
Okay, last one, Jamie Say, WKMG.
Just wondering what your thoughts are on the tighter restrictions the NBA announced the other day. Does it affect your team a lot or not so much?
Yeah, I don't know individual. I mean, I just think it's for this next stretch of time, look at our country. I mean, it's, I think we had 3 days ago over 4,000 deaths. So, I mean, it makes great sense that we are, tightening things up here until hopefully we get past this. But it's, you guys know, we've talked about this. To me, look, I had 2 coaches come down here and say, and I'm not going to tell you who, that we've played and say, like, what's going on? Do people in Orlando have any idea there's a pandemic going on? They're not joking. I mean, other places that we're traveling to, things are much tighter. They're much stricter. And that's the way it should be. Look at the countries who are handling well. They have rules and they live by the rules. So, I'm like you guys. Look, I have people that I care about that are older. We should be thinking about them. And that's part of this whole thing. It's part of the problem in our country. Everybody wants to have their own rules. And that's why, listen, let's be honest. No country's handled this worse than we have. Nobody, because we're not disciplined enough. And when people make rules, we don't want to live by them. So there are always repercussions when you lack discipline in any phase of your life. So I didn't sense that our guys had a big problem with it. And I think it's smart for all of us to do. One thing about our league, they're thorough, things are done with a purpose, and they're protecting our players. Our league is all about our players, and all of this is to protect the players.
Okay, great. Thank you, Cliff.